Mike Trout, a 2-run single, part of a 3-run inning. Angels lead the Brewers 4-0, moving to the bottom half of the third here at Miller Park. And welcome to the broadcast booth alongside Bill Schroeder and General Manager David Stearns. Matt LePay here. And David, we thank you for being with us. We've been talking about Junior Guerra here, and it's kind of deep into the pool stuff here when you face guys like Trout and Pujols, but it's such an interesting story how he got here. I mean, you really have to love this game to be where Junior Guerra has been pretty much all over the world. Just give us a little background on what you liked about him and how you discovered him and how you thought he could be a good fit in this organization.
It really is incredible perseverance what this guy's gone through. He's literally pitched everywhere there is to pitch. Multiple countries, multiple leagues, every level, certainly in this country. And what attracted us to Junior is some of what we've seen tonight. He's got a good arm. He can throw in the mid-90s. He's got secondary pitches that can generate some swing and miss, and that's a good combination and has the potential to lead to some success at the big league level. Obviously, there needs to be some consistency, and he ran into a little bit of trouble last inning, but we've certainly seen the positive from him tonight as well.
Yeah, starting pitching, I guess, for you has been a little bit inconsistent, but you got to be really impressed with Jimmy Nelson, the way he's been able to go out there just about every time and give you a good start.
Absolutely. He's been the anchor of this staff, and he continues to take steps forwards incrementally every single start. He's very thoughtful about what he does on the mound, and it's shown. He's been extremely effective. Even when he hasn't had his best stuff, he's managed to put together competitive starts and keep us in games.
Let's talk about that, David. I mean, right now, obviously everybody, you want to win as soon as you can and all that. And we just mentioned what Jimmy Nelson has done. What else have you seen that has got you going, okay, I like this, I like that, and that moving forward we can build on these areas of the ball club?
What's been most encouraging to me throughout the young part of this season is the quality of at-bats that we're taking up and down the lineup. We're showing a very I'd say, selectively aggressive approach. We're zoning in on balls that we think we can handle particularly well, and generally we're doing damage on those balls, and we're doing an equally good job of laying off pitches that are really tough to hit. And so certainly pleased with that, pleased with that the message is getting across to our hitters. And if we continue to that, we're going to score a lot of runs this year.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, watching a lot of these guys. But what part of the ball club are you impressed with that's kind of surprised you a little bit, and an area where you feel like things have to improve a little bit?
Well, I think if you look at really the core of the position players, that middle of our lineup, it's been pretty impressive throughout the season, and happy with the run production we're getting out of the middle of the lineup. Obviously, Braun's had a tremendous start. Carter's done a good job. Luke's done a good job. And we've been able to get on base ahead of those guys and set the table. And clearly, we're all watching this every night. Our pitching needs to step up, and we know that, and they're working hard at it. I certainly have a ton of confidence that we'll continue to improve and step by step get better, and if we do that, we're going to have a much more complete ball club.
Yeah, can you give us some injury updates? You got some pitchers that are on the deal. You got Garza, you got Knebel, and Will Smith. Can you tell us how they're doing?
So Corey and Will are probably a little bit ahead of Matt at this point. They're progressing very well through their throwing program. Will has a checkpoint next week where we'll be able to determine if we can ramp him up to the point of really getting back on the mound and rehabilitating towards competing. If all goes well, our hope is that by the end of the month, we can see both those guys back. Matt is probably a little bit farther behind that, still going through the preparations for him to return to throw, but he's feeling good, and hopefully early mid-June we'll be able to see Matt back on the field here.
2 balls, 2 strikes to the catcher, Jonathan Lucroy, as we visit with David Stearns here in the bottom half of the third inning. There's so much fans, I think, everywhere, David, are keeping an eye, maybe more closely than they would in other years, of the minor league system. And, the fan is saying, well, bring them up, but you got to be careful about that and let them get better at their own level. And when they come up, stay up. It's easy to say. How hard is it to do?
You know what, we talk a lot about at the major league level not making judgments on any 1 month or 100 plate appearances or something like that, and we need to do this, stay disciplined to do the same thing at the minor league level. So we're fortunate that we have a lot of good prospects. We have players who are continuing to improve, continuing to develop, and we want to give them time to complete that. And we know there are going to be speed bumps whenever they show up at the major league level. We'd like those to be as few and far between as possible. And so far, very pleased with how our prospects are performing in the minor leagues.
I want to ask you about two guys. I mean, everybody wants to talk about Arcia. I'm not going to ask you about him. Everybody asks about him. But Kean Broxton's really swinging the bat well down in the minor leagues. And what's going on with Hager?
Chris Carter's swinging the bat pretty well, too, as he just rips one over the wall in center. Game back on in Miller Park.
Forget about Josh Hader. How do you like Chris Carter right now?
That's a good acquisition there, David. Nice job.
I'll tell you what, if he can continue this approach and stay short and direct to the ball, he's an enormously strong man and a talented hitter.
And he doesn't even have to get good extension, which he's able to get here. It didn't even look like he got that one off the trademark a little bit. Doesn't get all of it. I do predict the Bernie's dugout at some point this year for Big Chris, and able to drive that one out of here. But run production incredible for him, and not just the home runs, but getting the guy in from third base with less than 2 outs. He's done a pretty good job with that.
Absolutely. Putting the bat on the ball in those situations is so important. And for a big guy like that, it can be a challenge sometimes. But he's focused, and he's been able to do it successfully this year.
But Kean Broxton, I mean, it's good to see him swing the bat well down in the minor leagues.
Absolutely. Kean had a tremendous start to spring training, won a job on the team, cooled off towards the end of spring, and had a rough go of it here for the first couple weeks of the season. But he's a talented player. We all saw what type of athlete he is. And so to get him back on track, see the success he's having in AAA is certainly encouraging.
Yeah, 10 for 29 in his last 6 games, a couple of home runs.
Absolutely. And we know that power's there as well. It can be gap power sometimes, but it's certainly there, and looking forward to continuing to see that type of production.
Kurt Neuenhuis goes down swinging here in the 3rd inning. David, thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Good luck to you moving forward. David Stearns,
David.
Brewers general manager. Good luck charm. Watch Chris Carter with a 2-run bomb. Brewers back in the game.